Okay, this is Algebra 1.8, and it starts on page 148 in your textbook. Okay, if you're in a hot air balloon rising at a rate of 20 feet per minute, what is the altitude? So, what is the altitude of the balloon after X number of minutes? And for that, we have three new words: function, and input, and output. So a function is a rule that establishes a relationship between two quantities. There's an input and an output. And for each input, there is exactly one output. And so now we can look at how you would make turn a function into an input-output table. Okay. So what I did is I created 6 triangular numbers, and this one right here is 1. So if I wanted to make an input-output table, so in figure 1, I have 1 dot. Here I have 3 dots. And what I've done from this one, I had 1 dot, I added 2 dots. And here, how many dots did I add? Okay. So let's back up here a second. So here I have 1 dot, and that's a 1, and the output was 1. 1 dot here, input, and 1 dot output. Keeping the same format, I still have my 1 dot, and here I add 2 dots, but my output is 3 because there are 1, 2, 3 dots. Okay. Next I have I add 3 dots to this one, and my output is 6 dots. Okay. Here I added 4 dots, and my output is now 10 dots. On this one right here, I added 5 dots, and I have 15 is my total. And the next one right here, I add 6 dots to that one, and my output is 21 dots. So for each, on a function, for each input, you have 1 output. Now, the collection of all the input values, and that's what we had here, is the domain. It's called the domain. My pen isn't working. It's called the domain of the function. Okay. And the collection of output is called the range of the function. Oh, it won't print. The range of the function. Okay, so we have these numbers here on top, which are the domain. That's the input, and we have the ones on the second row here, the 1, 3, 6, 10, 15. That was the range of the function. Okay, so let's look back at our balloon. We are at an altitude of 250 feet. And we turn on the burner down here. We start the little fire. And we rise at a rate of 20 feet per 5 minutes. And we could say our altitude will be represented by h, and that will be in feet. Okay? And t will represent the minutes. So let's see how this would look on another page. Okay, so here's our formula. H is our altitude right here, and it equals 250 feet plus 20 t, and we know that t here, we're going to say that t is greater than or equal to 0, and t is less than or equal to 5. Okay? Okay, so our formula was h equals 250 plus 20t, where t is greater than or equal to 0 and t is less than or equal to 5. So that's your range. So from 0 to 5, that's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now we can use a function and we can create a table with the inputs and get the outputs. So if you look, so here's our t right there, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in this column, we have the inputs, which are the minutes. T equals 0 minutes, t equals 1 minute, t equals 2 minutes, t equals 3 minutes, t equals 4 minutes, t equals 5 minutes. Here is our formula where h is the altitude. So we have altitude equals 250 plus 20. And same one, it just continues, except we put our input information here. So 0, there's a 0 there, 1, we plug in the 1 there, we plug in the 2, plug in the 3, plug in the 4, and plug in the 5. And then we solve, and we end up with h is 250, h is 270, h is 290, h is 310, h is 330, and h is 350. And then I can make my chart where input was the number of minutes, and the output is the altitude reached. And so 0 minutes, we start at 250. Input of 1 minute gives us an output of 270 altitude. An input of 2 minutes gives us 290. Input of 3 minutes gives us an output of 310. 4 minutes gives us 330. And 5 gives us 350. And so all we did is plug in with the range that we were given. Okay, so now we can plot it with our answers. And to plot the first point of t and h, so the h is going up and down here, and the time is going this way. So now we need to find the h at 250 on the vertical axis. So that's going to be right here. It's where we would start. And that's going to be 0 and 250 right there. Okay, and then we can continue plotting. We can do 1 was 270, so it'd be about right there. The next one was 290. Then we had 310, and then we had 3. I didn't quite make my lines that good. And 350, I sort of squished them up there. But ideally, we get something that looks like that. And we can label our axis. We have the vertical axis is h, and the horizontal axis was t. Okay, for the next example, we want to think about scuba diving, where you're going deeper and deeper and deeper.